And Brad, as you mentioned, a lot of cleanup in and around this house behind me. Now, this was handed to me about an hour ago. This was given to me by the grandson of that homeowner, and the family believes that it fell off of the truck that the suspect was driving, those two men who escaped from that prison. Clearly, this is a symbol of some of the drama that unfolded here earlier today. Well, Brad, it's still a pretty active scene here 6 hours after that cable snap. You can see the linemen behind me working to restore power tonight. In fact, this family to my right says that they have been without power since 4 o'clock this afternoon, and as of this moment, they do not have it. Now, fortunately, Burke does have insurance, but tomorrow he'll start going through some of the estimates on what he needs to replace and how much it will cost. He believes that this is going to be the most expensive item. This is the wood-burning furnace that I talked about earlier. He says this will likely cost a lot of money to replace. We'll find out soon enough whether his insurance will cover it. Well, Karen and Brad, Secretary of State Kobach has always maintained a strong anti-illegal immigration stance, and that has not gone unnoticed by activists pushing for immigration reform. And those activists this weekend took that message right to his door here in KCK. And that's the big problem tonight. Parents are telling me tonight they simply don't know what they're going to do because, quite frankly, they did not expect the school to close down. In fact, they said their children were improving academically, so today's news is quite a shock. Well, Karen, the man accused of killing a local business owner here in Warrensburg is still behind bars even after posting a $2 million bond. His defense attorney is highly upset about that, so he has now filed this brief with the Court of Appeals. The murder of popular Warrensburg bar owner Blaine Whitworth last September shocked the residents of this small town and infuriated his parents, who have now poured their energy into running his businesses and funding local projects in Blaine's name while they wait for the trial.
He would have a lot of suggestions of things that we probably didn't do like he would do, but I think he would be proud of what we did from the standpoint of keeping his memory alive.
The trial date for Ziad Abid, the man accused of hiring someone to kill Blaine, has already been set. Abid even managed to post a $2 million bond, but his attorney says Johnson County Judge Michael Wagner refused to release Abid, which he calls a violation of state law.
When you have an order setting bond, then you assume that you can comply with the conditions of bond and be released. We haven't seen it happen before.
Peters has now filed a motion with the Court of Appeals to force Judge Wagner to comply with the original court order. In this brief, Peter claims Judge Wagner questioned the source of the bond, which the government of Saudi Arabia posted. Also mentioned in the brief, Wagner is accused of saying, quote, the Saudi government deposited $2 million in the court account. Who owns that money at the end of the day? Who is laying claims to these funds? It's obvious the Saudi government did not wish to give that money to a bondsman, unquote. Peters found those remarks offensive and says whoever funded the bond is irrelevant.
Whether it's family, friends, a government, a guardian angel, it doesn't matter.
Blaine's father says the judge made the right decision.
Is anything that allows the suspect to stand trial and make sure that he stands trial, we think is in the best interest of the prosecution.
Now, I did track down Judge Wagner. I spoke with him personally. He declined to comment on the case because he said it is a pending case, but he has until Monday to respond to this brief. We're live tonight outside the Johnson County Justice Center in Warrensburg. Dave Jordan, KCTV 5 News. Well, Karen and Brad, Secretary of State Kobach has always maintained a strong anti-illegal immigration stance, and that has not gone unnoticed by activists pushing for immigration reform. And those activists this weekend took that message right to his door here in KCK.
We think you can stand with Kansas people.
This video of hundreds of immigration reform protesters swarming the KCK home of Secretary of State Chris Kobach was sent to us by members of the Wichita Bay Sunflower Community Action Group who organized the rally.
Out of the 300 people that we had there, we had about 20 families who have been directly affected by some of the policies that Mr. Kobach is promoting.
Executive Director Solma Arias says going to Kobach's home was a last resort after he denied numerous requests for a meeting.
He was testifying against immigration in Washington last month, and again, we had asked him to speak to him and to listen to our stories, and again, he refused.
Kobach wouldn't speak with us about this, but he did address the protest in an interview with Fox News Radio.
I've routinely been protested, on the Capitol grounds, in public places where I give speeches, and that's fine. They have every right to do that, but they don't have the right to enter someone's private property and engage in this kind of intimidation.
Kobach wasn't home at the time, but he says neighbors told him it took police at least 15 minutes to get there. He says that underscores the need for Second Amendment protection.
If this mob had been violent and had tried to forcibly enter the home while we were there, definitely the Second Amendment is the private property owner's last resort.
Aria says she believes this protest made a difference.
I think that having the chance to make a statement about this in public and about how our families are hurting is effective.
Now, Aria says she won't be staging any more protests at Kobach's home. She says she's going to take her message directly to members of Congress. And as for Kobach, he says his position on immigration has not changed. We are live tonight in KCK. Dave Jordan, KCTV 5 News.
School was closing.
And how did that make you feel?
Sad, because I've been here since kindergarten. It really hurts my feelings that the school is going to close.
Well, that was the scene today outside Gordon Parks Elementary when students were told their school is closing.
Gordon Parks is especially for at-risk kids in the city. The state says it shut down the school at 37th and Wyoming because of low MAP test scores. The school was supposed to be open through June 28th, but it will close its doors next Wednesday. KCTV5's Dave Jordan is there live tonight. And Dave, parents now have to scramble to find childcare and figure out where to send the school kids next year.
Exactly, Karen, and that's the big problem tonight. Parents are telling me tonight they simply don't know what they're going to do because, quite frankly, they did not expect the school to close down. In fact, they said their children were improving academically, so today's news is quite a shock. Tears and hugs usually happen at the end of the school year, but these are not tears of joy. Parents found out that Gordon Parks Elementary is closing its doors next Wednesday.
My son has never been to a school like this, and it's very amazing. And to take this away,
It's not right.
It's not right.
They really care about the students, and I hate that they closing the school. I really do.
Most of the 230 students took the news especially hard. We were inside shortly after they were notified. Parents have less than a week to figure out where their children will finish the school year, and teachers now have to look for a new job.
They didn't think about what they did to people. What about health insurance? I have no health insurance now. I mean, I'm just there, and it's going to happen next week.
The school's executive director says he'll work to help his soon-to-be former teachers get placed in other schools. As for his campus, he takes issue with the state's decision to close it down.
And we were able to ascertain that our students were doing very well and that they were making significant progress, but that data was never considered by the state board. They looked only at last year's MAP tests. Now, Gordon Parks Elementary has set up meetings between parents and administrators of other schools, including charter schools. That's going to happen here on campus next Wednesday. Now, tomorrow, some of the teachers who teach at Gordon Parks Elementary will also meet with administrators at those same schools in the hopes of picking up some new employment. We are live tonight outside of Gordon Parks Elementary. Dave Jordan, KCTV 5 News.
And KCTV5's Dave Jordan was there as they rolled out the red carpet.
He joins us live tonight at the AMC Barry Woods 24. Hi, Dave.
Hey there, Karen and Brad. You know, this was not just a film for the people involved. This was a labor of love to tell the story about a man who changed the face of baseball forever. Amid the glamour and celebrity sightings at the premiere of 42 here in the Northland was heartfelt praise and adulation for the film that finally told the story of baseball great Jackie Robinson.
Just a great film, historically accurate, inspiring, and hopefully people will walk away with it empowered. Chadwick Boseman plays the pioneering player who integrated the major leagues in 1947. It was a much sought-after role, and Boseman says the pressure was on.
Although, you know, I was worried about it being intimidating and, you know, I was worried about living up to what other people felt. I also wanted the pressure and to rise to the occasion.
And he did just that, according to his co-star, Harrison Ford.
I think he was fantastic. He worked very hard to acquire the baseball skills. And I think he's a very talented actor.
Many in attendance tonight were moved by the film's premiere in Kansas City, where Jackie Robinson played in the Negro Leagues for the Kansas City Monarchs 2 years before he went to the Dodgers.
A lot of these guys I knew personally, grew up with them as uncles and so forth, and they would be so overjoyed and just overcome by this outpouring of love.
And there are still some screenings going on tonight right behind me in 3 of the movie houses over there. Now, many of us, of course, heard the story of Jackie Robinson integrating the major leagues. I certainly did, growing up in Evansville Apartments where the stadium was once housed. But Harrison Ford told me tonight that he believes that this movie will provide an emotional connection and that people will be able to feel what it was like to be Jackie Robinson back in those days of baseball. We are live at AMC Theaters in the Northland. Dave Jordan, KCTV 5 News.